Oh, I hate doing intros. You want to do the intro?
Alrighty then.
You want to do intro this time?
No, I'll do it next time.
Okay, recording. That goes for you on YouTube too. If you want to say something like that, just let me know. I can see everything. So yeah. Hey Chaos, how you doing?
I can hear you fine.
A little better, yeah. Yeah. I gotta buy a new mic. I don't know why this one shitting the bed on me, but you know, it comes with the territory. I've had it for a while. Say what? Is that better?
I
Okay.
also have mine at an angle, or a different angle than you have yours at, because the
Where?
mic is right there.
He's caressing his mic. That's how we do things around here.
I mean, I can lick my
Sure.
mic if you want me to.
I mean, let's do that. Let's say that for Patreon then. Look, look. Some people are whores for money, and it's not a bad thing. I am a whore for a certain amount of money. Okay, let's be honest here. I listened to music before I started the podcast this time. It's throwing me off.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, depending on when you have, definitely have an angle attack,
Yeah,
so to speak.
we both have the same ones. What they're saying is,
Yeah.
what tricks say makes sense.
Yeah, it's just weird because like in everything else I do, like when I'm streaming normally, it doesn't no problem hearing
Yeah.
me. But I also
Back
have filters
to
on everything, and that's one of
okay.
those things that just kind of frustrates me because I got to change it up every single time.
Your back tab thing is at the Pac-Man kind of looking logo.
What back tab?
Like when you look at the back of the mic, you have this little dial.
Oh yeah, the
Is
dial. Yeah.
that's it? That's like the Pac-Man looking one.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever the fuck you are. Hope you have a great day. And we're going to talk a little bit about what actually embodies us and makes us do the things we do, makes us choose who we have to choose and those people we want to surround ourselves with. But we will not debate. We won't debate
Mm.
this. We're going by facts. We're going by stats. We're actually going to make it where you have to think for yourself and figure out where you fall into this line. So yeah, tonight we have, like always, Mr. Savage.
Hello, hello.
And of course myself. You have Terry, aka Raider, whichever one you want to call me. It's all fine. Yeah, Tricks, you already got your answer. But yeah, so tonight we're going to talk about what core values do you think define modern society today and how they differ from those of previous generations.
Mm.
Yeah. When you hear that question, what do you make? What does it make you think?
I think today it's more of a attention-seeking society. A lot of figureheads today are more entertainers and even people like us podcasters, and people have a different mindset on values and what they should be striving for. Uh, I think a small like example here is like when people are asked in like school, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" A lot of the times, they answer being like entertainer or like a TikTok star, and they see a lot more value in that than they see like a value in like being like a doctor or like even something smaller like a teacher or something else because they know. I think two things are actually part of the value in society is money as well as far as like that and attention. So I think it has those two as a main concern.
I get that. I can get that. Let's go deeper though.
Hmm.
Um, let's go like childhood, how you were,
Mm-hmm.
and what made you be the way you are. Let's look at things people find actually so important to them. They don't realize it's actually important to them, and it kind of formed who they were. Let's look at those life values. So as you know, in the Discord, we did a little thing that said getting people to voice out their opinions about what values they thought were more important to them. You know, answers were not all the same. Everybody's different. I'll put mine and yours out there because we're out here doing this. But for mine, it's honesty. I like being transparent. I like being seen from all angles, and nobody has to guess or worry about what's going on. I like that across the board. I like that in people. I I surround myself with as well. So, that's kind of one of those things that depicts that for me. And for you, it's time and family slash friends. So from my standpoint, that means that you value your time. You don't waste your time. You don't play with this thing like some people do. They say, "Hey, I'll be there in like 10 minutes," and it takes an hour, and it kind of seems like one of those things that kind of frustrates you and irritates you a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely can.
Then family and friends. It's one of those things that you surround yourself with family. You think that's a really tight knit bond, and you do everything you can to keep that bond going as much as you can. And like if they need something or just want time together, things like that, you always want to be there for that. And then friends with that is I see it all the time. We hang out so damn much. It's one of those things that you've always been like that for the years I've known you. Always code your friends kind of close and everything like that you can do. If you have time to spend with them, you do spend time with them.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like to, spend my time with people I like to hang out with. It's cool to meet new people and get to new people, but a lot of the times I just prefer to just hang out with people I already know, and especially people I consider close friends like you and other people. And I mean, you only have so much time, so you can spend, and most of us have jobs we have to do, family to take care of. So you only have like, some people it's 1 hour, some people have 4 hours. Whatever amount of time you have, it's very precious. And as like at first, when I was, doing a streaming kind of thing, I would just spread out my time for everyone. I would, within an hour, I'd be watching, 6 to 8 people within 1 hour. And then, it's not like it's valuable time, but a lot of the times it almost feels wasted because a lot of the people aren't really there to actually make connections. They're just there for like numbers. And so they don't really try to, you go into someone else's stream and you actually can try to connect to them, talk to them, engage, and then, they'll come back and support you, but they'll just, throw up a tab or, they'll throw a couple emotes here and there. And as time goes by, you kind of see that you could be spending your time doing better things, interacting with your friends, your IRL, hanging out in Discord with your actual friends playing games, trying to improve yourself overall, like what you do all the time off stream. You're always trying to improve your podcast. You're always in Discord with us, but a lot of the times you're just out there trying to improve what you got so that it can get better over time. So your time's not wasted; it's actually being used in a good sense.
Yeah. I'm horrible at time management. Not gonna lie. It's one of those things that I strive to get better at, but it's one of those things that I have nothing but fucking time. I'm like most people. I really do. So I have that slack to not have to worry about it so much, but I'm always prompt. I don't waste anybody else's time. I'm not
Yeah.
about that life. But we're gonna put this on the screen because something I said earlier, or something you said earlier that Trix mentioned. He said, how kids want to be content creation and everything. They don't know the backside of things. They don't, but that's why they're
No.
children, and that's why they also don't understand like what goes into it, the networking goes into it, the talking, the how do you fix your streams, this, that, and the other for that. So it's a child, so you got to understand that it's a child's dream. I would never discourage it. I'd be like, if you want to do that when you get older, go ahead and do that when you get older, but keep in mind that there's always other avenues. Never discourage. I always kind of reinforce it a little bit. Another thing is, he said, because I guess for mine, blunt honesty can hurt, but it's to the point you know what direction to move in my own opinion. Yeah, you're right. Blunt honesty can hurt. I've learned over the years because I used to be that blunt and didn't really care, have the compassion aspect of everything when I did talk and gave you my answers. And it was something a learned trait because, again, I try not to do this anymore, but I try to go back to the military side. You didn't have to have compassion when you're answering people, when you're telling people like what your idea was, what you think. I learned as time goes on, that's not how you talk to people in the civilian world. People don't take it very well. So I do grasp that. So yeah,
Yeah, I get that wholeheartedly. Like you said before, you going from military life to citizen life, completely different worlds. In the military, you're hardened. You can't really get offended or hurt through words. Basically, you have a sergeant drilling you 24/7, so you're gonna be used to that kind of stuff. It's kind of like drilled into you to that point where it's numbing. You don't even feel it, and it doesn't bother you once whatsoever. But in the civilian life, it's different. People are babied. They grow up and they allow their emotions to overtake the honest truth when someone gives the truth to them. And sometimes, even on the other side of it, sometimes someone doing the blunt truth it can be seen as an aggressive form as well. They might say something that's true, but they take a very aggressive approach to it. And like I said before, my coworker, he's a Marine, so they always have that attitude about him. Not always, but a lot of them do. And so it's a two-sided thing. It always is, really. But I agree with you. I also, I'm a very blunt, honest person, so that's just how I see it, at least.
I get that. So Trix asked, "Do you like blunt honesty?" I do. I prefer it more than anything else because I really hate mincing words, especially when the conversation can be short and sweet. But you kind of notice that about me because when we do communicate and conversate every once in a while, it's not long, drawn out conversations unless it's something we're both adamant about. So that's why I'm really short and blunt. It's not short and sweet to the point. It's one of those things I can't help because I'm not good at filling in conversations a lot for other people or for myself sometimes because my brain just goes 30 different directions at once and I can never keep it focused. But I prefer blunt honesty no matter what. I don't care if it comes off as negative or condescending or anything like that. It's their honest opinion, and I'm just fine taking it like that, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
In my experience, most people are not receptive to blunt honesty. That is correct.
Mm-hmm.
Most people are not experienced. Most people don't have that receptive capability to take blunt honesty, like no matter how you put it. I've seen people that don't have that capability of taking honesty that's not blunt because they're not ready to one confront that about themselves or see how other people view them. So yeah, I get that. Anything else? Anything else? Anything else? Zumbi. People need more honesty instead of beating around the bush just because it's not the answer someone wants. Kind of goes into the same thing I said. People aren't ready. Some people aren't ready for that. Hopefully one day they do get to that point. That's what I'm gonna say. Who said that? It doesn't show me the name. Okay, we're gonna go this. I'm going to disagree. I believe blunt honesty is beneficial and kindness isn't always necessary, in my opinion, when you're stating facts. I can agree with that as well. I can see both
Mm-hmm.
sides of the fence no matter what on that. And that's kind of how I've kind of was raised up like that. It was simple. It was very blunt, very harsh on certain things. And then when it came time to that, they realized we didn't understand it or comprehend it the right way. Then I, had to had to or not me, but everybody around me had to reevaluate how they conducted themselves with telling me certain things. But that's just me. Moving on. Do you believe individualism is overtaking collectivism in modern society, and what are the consequences of this shift? For myself, I don't think that individualism is overtaking it. Too many people want to be like everybody else or want to
Mm-hmm.
copy paste how somebody else's success was. They don't have
Mm-hmm.
their own individual drive, and they don't want to do it their way and figure out the hard ways and the lessons and everything like that. Like myself, this isn't my first podcast. I learned a lot of fucking lessons a couple years ago. Did it with Snooch, Captain Snooch, and it fell on its fucking face. We had traction 1 week, thought we knew what we were fucking doing. And instead of us doing the work and the research and everything like that, we just fucking fell on our fucking faces and it just imploded. And then I took that as a learning lesson of, hey, what went wrong?
Mm-hmm. That's a good mindset to have, you know. Even when you fail, you succeed as so long as you take that learning experience and use it for a better future.
Yeah. So yourself, what's your standpoint on it?
I pretty much agree, you know. A lot of people just want it's interesting because a lot of people want the attention, but they try to go the quickest route and not the hard path. So they just do what everyone else is doing at the time. And you can see that in day to day and almost everything. People just want the cheap win essentially, and that can be seen from the smallest things like, you know, example, video games like Call of Duty. You always have the meta. Everyone just goes with the meta because they want to win. They don't care if they had to try a little harder just to use a gun that's slightly, you know, uh, different. You know, how it's stronger, it's broken, whatever. That's seen all the time in Call of Duty. Older Call of Duties, they used to be just use whatever you want. And yeah, you had other guns that were strong, but at the end of the day, you could just use whatever you want. But now it's just a meta. And when you take it into context in real life, um, basically everyone just goes the cheaper route possible so they can get to the top of the list as quickly as possible. And so there's no unique individualism because either they're too scared to fail or they just want the cheap, quick route. And people don't see the long run or long term goals instead of they just want to go the short term. Because always, like you said before, it's just fame and fortune is what people want most, and they don't want to put all that crazy effort into it. You know, and you see people that do succeed that do put the effort in. You know, an example is Joe Rogan. He's been doing a podcast for over 20 years. You know, and yeah, he put a lot of time and effort into it. And now he's really popular now, and where no one thought it was going to work out. It's not going to be popular. It's not going to become famous, but he did it for fun, starting
Yeah.
off. And he still does it for fun.
Oh,
He
yeah.
brings people on because he finds them interesting. And that's kind of like what we're doing, you know. We have a topic at hand we think about, but we bring on people that we think is going to be interesting and beneficial to that topic at hand. So it's always a interesting concept to see. So yeah.
I completely agree with that. And, you know, if everything works out the right way or how I foresee it and how I keep doing everything like that, maybe one day we'll see how that goes. I saw this from Cotton because it kind of relates to a lot of people that do watch this and streaming and everything like that who do this. And that, you know, there's been accusations of people doing this and stuff like that, but, you know, to each their own. Some people use bots on Twitch to get partner instead of putting the actual work into it. Yeah, they do. And if you didn't know, this is just for y'all's own information. You can go online and look that up and figure out who it was because the list got released of who did it, and you'd be really surprised on some of them. Some of them you wouldn't be because you can pay attention and realize if somebody says somebody has like 200 people in their chat and 3 people are talking, kind of key sign right there.
It is interesting though because a lot of the times it's interesting because some are fake numbers, like actual viewer bots, or it actually is real numbers, but they're from using like you're basically putting an ad on like a website, and basically whoever clicks onto that website, even though they're not watching the video, it's like a little sidebar. Your stream will pop up on there, and that counts as a view. So that's how sometimes people that use view bots get partnered. Whereas other people, like I know a few people that do it now, and they'll have like you said, 200 viewers, but only like 10 people talking at that time. And they've been doing it for like 5 months, but still they haven't gotten partnered because the number is bloated essentially, and it's just fake.
Yeah, that's just how it rolls. I learned that it's not one of those things that I concern myself with because I
Yeah,
don't care.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
and people, if they know me, they know I don't give a fuck about that stuff. I don't give a fuck about going partner or anything like that. It's just streaming is one of the things I enjoy doing.
Yep,
So yeah.
exactly.
Also, Gas, hello, how you doing? Yeah. Where's the question? And I had it. I'm gonna do that because this is a good point. And a lot of people ask me about this point, and I'll put it out there like fair and square. Fair. I think most this one tricks. It didn't pop up in our live feed, so I did it
Mm,
like this. I think what most people don't realize is that podcasts just got lucky in being popular for a long time. Clothes on me. For a long time, they were kind of considered dumb to listen to. Things change over time. What people are interested in changes all the time. That's 100% true. Won't negate that. I won't contest that at all. That's true. But at the same time, I feel that if there's somebody that will listen or wants to listen, I give the opportunity to. I want them to actually have the opportunity, no matter what, to give it their honest opinion, give it their honest try. And I have certain things I pick out. And it's like, look, maybe the whole episode isn't for you, but if you go to this point, you might like it. If you go to this point, you might like it. This whole episode's meant for just one person, not everybody in general. The popularity aspect of that, I agree. I think podcasts got really popular during COVID, and
definitely.
everybody started having to figure out, what to do with their time, what to listen to,
Mm-hmm.
everything like that. They started listening to the same stuff over and over again. Like, I got to find something new, got to find something different, and that's kind of when the boom kind of happened, where everybody started seeing it more all over, TikTok, social media feeds, everything like that, and they started booming. I didn't want to jump on that bandwagon then because at the time I wasn't interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it took me a good long while and a good long hard look at myself to figure out what I wanted, where I wanted to go with it, everything like that, who I wanted in place with it as well. So, you know, I get everything you're saying, Tricks, and I completely agree with that. I have nothing to disagree about with that at all. So, you're right. Next subject. Oh, Lord, this is a good one. How do societal values around success and achievement influence mental health and well being? I
Wow.
know y'all can't hear her, but Boss Lady is laughing because she knows this is a question.
Mm,
I'll let you go with it, bud.
okay, yeah. Well-being, yeah, everyone's different. You know that you all have a different. You're gonna think about things differently. Everyone's unique in their own individuality for that. And like personally, for me, you know, I always streamed just for a hobby. That was all it ever was. And then, as the years went by, I started really early, like 2015. And at first, I just turned it on, didn't do any I didn't go into other people's streams and chat and hang out. I didn't do all those kind of things. But as years went by, I met Wagbag's stream team and all of that. I kind of actually turned. I think the initial way I started to make it serious is when I saw Chaos Guns live for the first time I'd ever seen him stream. And if you guys don't know who Chaos Guns is, he's a good friend of mine and Raiders. But anyways, he was streaming Call of Duty. I was hanging out with him, and then he invited me to Mr. Wagbag's server. Then from there, it kind of cascaded effects, and that's where I went Raider and everyone else. It was just like one little it was like a tree growing out, and I'm going through all these different branches, and it was a cascading effect, really. So it was cool to meet all these cool people and stuff like that. And I took streaming more serious and serious, and I tried to put a lot more effort into it. But over time, it can be a crushing feeling when you see that your stream isn't doing as good as much effort as you're putting in. You know, like I said earlier, I would put in a lot of time, go visit people's streams, and I would, if I was lucky, I get 1/3 of that back. And so you'd be streaming for 2-3 hours, and you look down, and the worst thing you can do is look at the numbers. Don't look at the numbers. When you see your numbers at like 2 3, no one's talking in chat. It's gonna bring you down. It's gonna bring your feelings down. It's gonna bring your mental state down. You're not gonna want to stream, and you kind of forget the reason why you're streaming to begin with. And that can also be used in today's society on everything in life. If you're gonna have a negative mindset, then it's just gonna bring you down. But when it's in terms of like, let's say success, you can put yourself through the ringer and be drained. You know, you might get to where you're trying to get, you know, be popular on YouTube or Twitch or, you know, at a job or whatever, you know, get all these friends, get all this money, all that kind of stuff. But it might drain you because you kind of exhausted yourself. You don't give yourself a break. So, and everyone's different. You might be able to tolerate more time abusing yourself to put yourself through the ringer. And then other times it could be someone that, you know, needs a break after a whole week. You take a day or two off. So I think it's a little different for everyone, but mental health is a thing you need to really focus on, I think, primarily before you dig deep, because it can pretty much ruin the whole rest of the experience if you're not in a good mental state.
Okay. So, let's see here. My turn. How does societal views around success and achievement influence mental health and well-being? So I believe it affects it it goes both positive and negative for that. Because success, when you're successful in achieving goals and everything like that, you're on top of the fucking world. You don't feel like anything's gonna go wrong. Everything's great, and people seem to thrive when they're winning. It's one of those things, like when you're winning, you always feel good.
Dopamine hit, yep.
Yeah, and so your well-being with that goes with that. Your mental health, you're on top of the world. The dopamine level, that everything like that is just up there. It's when you fail after you're winning for a good while, like you say, you're winning at everything you're fucking doing. You fucking stumble a little bit, and you're like, "Oh, I'm good. I can still get back on top." And then you do it again, and you fail, and you stumble, and you just can't get your feet back under you the right way. That's when you start to see a decline in their well-being and their mental health, and they don't realize what's going on because they lose track of what's important with them on that kind of stuff. And they, like, let's use an example for myself. The first podcast, me and Snooch we're on top. We're like, yeah, this is fucking fantastic. They love our content. They love this and that and third. We didn't know anything about, social media outreach, networking to the right people, like talking to businesses, things like that. And networking professionally was something different to us, and we never learned it. We didn't know we needed a business plan. We didn't know we needed a business model. We didn't know we needed to draft up papers for, people to come talk to us, things like that. But they're all learning experiences, in my opinion. And the way I see things, it's just one of those things. And Trick's right. Sometimes it's necessary to hit rock bottom so you can better assess what is the best path forward for you. That's 100% correct. I try to live my life like that. When something I care about a lot, I always try to do what I can to assess everything when I fail. Like, we've had falling outs with partnerships and everything like that, and I just assess what went wrong, where to go. If I can't figure it out, I have a team for a fucking reason, and they can assess it for me. But we can't live down there at the bottom. We can't. You always got to get back up. You always got to, do what you need to do and man up and find yourself and say, hey, I fucked up. I'm going to move forward. How do I move forward now? And how do I move forward in an efficient and effective way that isn't going to cost everything, because sometimes you got to take those baby steps to make sure you're right. You're good. But yeah. Somebody said something else I wanted to kind of capitalize on. I can't remember. Oh, it was Trix again. Look, Trix, you're my number one fan. I know you are, because you love having these conversations. So, yeah, we're gonna backtrack a little bit, talking about the popularity of how podcasts went, everything like that when COVID. So he said, I agree with the COVID thing. I think the largest part about COVID was that people are failing to take into account that it was the real first time that people got to enjoy themselves and explore what they like to do. as well as I can't read today. As well as figure out what other people like to do. Unfortunately, before COVID and now it seems like it's starting to kick up again. That people are getting swept up with the issues of surviving, paying rent,
Mm-hmm.
mortgage, food bills, etc. I agree with that. 75%.
Mm.
Because majority of people, yes, I can say that's true. But there's that 25% that literally that I've seen them live paycheck to paycheck, things like that, and they have more enjoyment and joy in their life than some people that have it made. And that's just because they don't rely on the joy of other things or outside interference, things like that. They enjoy the little things so much. So when they do the big things, they kind of have that thing where they know. I might be saying that wrong, maybe, but it's just one of those things. It's just how I can just say it right now. But yeah, that's all I got right now for that one.
Yeah, I agree.
I just talk to talk. No, Tricks, you don't just talk to talk. I know you a little bit. You don't really talk to talk. You don't really waste your time with talking unless there's actually a reason for it. It's easy to feel defeated on Twitch numbers, but Twitch's general across the board is lower view count. We're gonna get into something I'm not good with.
Dun dun dun.
Are traditional values like family, community, and loyalty still relevant in today's fast-paced world?
Mm.
The reason I say I'm not good with it is I give a lot of loyalty and community and time
Mm-hmm.
to a lot of people, to a whole lot of people that don't fucking deserve it. My team will remind me every chance they get whenever it's too damn much, and I understand that, and I do respect their opinions on that. It's just the fact that I'm that person that learns lessons the hard way. I always have been, and I'm kind of hard headed. Well, I not kind of. I really am fucking hard headed. Like no matter what. So yeah, it's one of those things. But are traditional families like family, community, and loyalty still relevant in today's fast-paced world? I think they are on certain levels.
Mm-hmm.
Family-wise, I'm not big on family. Because I'm used to doing everything alone and being isolated and things like that. I was even like that when I was like a child. It's one of those things that I don't really grasp it all the time because of just how my way of doing things were. And why not? Okay.
Mm.
Look, I wasn't thinking about that. I wasn't thinking
Blood
about that.
relatives, I think is what
Yeah,
he's trying to go with.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting yelled at, by the way, if y'all can't notice. But yeah, yeah, okay, so let me reword that then. Uh, my chosen family, I'm really good with. I was going by the real traditional way of family, like family members by blood. But obviously, I'm corrected. Family can be those you choose. So I'm really good with family then, I guess. Learn
Yeah,
something
it
new today.
depends.
Community, I'm really good with community. I'm tied into a lot of veteran communities, mental health communities, and honestly Discord communities, and I'm very active as much as I can be with all of them. Loyalty, I am as loyal as I can be all the time, as long as it's not going to cause any damage or harm to myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's said that way for a reason. But yeah. But do I think are they still relevant? I think they are. I just think they look a lot fucking different nowadays.
Yeah, they definitely. I think it's changed over time. Really. Okay, so what was say the question one more time?
So are traditional values like family, community, and loyalty still relevant in today's fast-paced world?
See, that's where I want. Because I'm now remembering what I wanted to say. I think it's changed in some degrees, and then others it's evolved in other ways. Some good, some bad. Example is parents today, in order to have a healthy, thriving home, typically most families, both parents have to work. And so by that, parents aren't around as much for the kids. And so, like you said, it's a fast-paced world now, and they're not able to spend the time that is necessary, that's normally needed to have a healthy, growing family. And, everyone's going to feel that too. Everyone's going to be exhausted. Parents are going to feel tired all the time. The kids are not going to feel wanted by their parents half the time, especially when they're younger. As they get older, they kind of understand, that's the way the world is. As when they're younger, little kids, an example is like a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old or whatever. They're going to feel like, oh, mom's not home all the time, or she's not home at all. She's working 2 jobs, or, dad and mom are both working all the time. They come home late, and by the time they come home, they're tired, and then et cetera, et cetera. But today also, people make family not just through blood, but also through people they meet. Sometimes you meet someone that you come so close to, you consider your brother, or you grow up with for so long. You consider them family, cousin, brother, whatever. It's like the expression goes, a brother from another mother. And it doesn't have to be, like I said, it doesn't have to be blood. It's just a matter of, I think, time and the connection you have with each other. Like, are you going to be there when they need you? Are you there when they need you, etc., all that, or vice versa, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of intertwining things that go with it. And like you said, the world is always so fast paced now. It's with social media, it's almost easier to make more family outside of your little IRL life, because you're in such a vast world of people. I think social media is kind of made it a little bit easier for people to connect with and expand your family, or you consider family, at least.
Okay. Gotcha. Let's see what people have to say. There's one. Okay. Twisty. For me, loyalty is number one. Once you betray me, you're cut off. I feel that more and more people are becoming that way when it comes to loyalty, because they're tired of being burned and made to feel less. I think that also depends on the person and what they've been through. Myself, I've been burned many times, and I still help when I can, and sometimes even when I can't, I still help. It's just one of those things that about me. That's how I am. Um, That's a reason why I put in place a team, because they'll call me on my bullshit whenever I'm doing too damn much. So it keeps me honest and keeps me doing the right thing all the time. So yeah, I'm just trying to make sure that I like to help people a lot. And it's one of those things that, even if it's a lost cause, I try to help them and guide them and navigate them through the right way of going, if I know how to. But it's still ultimately on them.
Yeah. Now, here's a question for you. When you're helping these people too, as much as you have good intentions, is it also to distract yourself from thoughts in your mind, things in your own life? Because a lot of times they'll put themselves out of their own mindset and help others to kind of distract them, per se. You think that could be a part of it?
So, part of it, yes. Because like I said, my brain goes so damn much so far. And if you ever get to know me really fully, I'm talking about like right out there, you'll realize that there's a lot more going on than most people see. But yeah, I do. And Twisty, I saw your comment, and I get what you're saying. But let me finish it up on that. Um, you think there's a big difference between helping and loyalty. The reason why I said it the way I did is because I still remain loyal, even though I get burned. Because, like I said, I'm about honesty, and I honestly still am loyal to these people, even though I'm burned. I might cut ties with them, I might distance myself from them, but I still remain loyal to them. That's like one of those things that about me that's a big quirk, big downfall thing for me, and it leads me down a lot of destructive roads. But again, I did put people in place just to make sure that would never happen again.
I'm like that in some aspects, especially for like my family. I won't complain at all if you ask me to come help, do etc. You need to help move whatever in your yard because it takes more than one person. I'll be there in a heartbeat. That's just my mentality about it. No one wants to do that. You're not like, yeah, I want to go out and move logs all day, but if it needs to be done, that's loyalty right there. You do it because you care.
Tricks, damn Tricks, you were fast on it this time. All right, so yeah, he was ready for this. I wish y'all could hear her right now. So people need to be accountable for their own actions, but at the same time, also need to allow someone to put them in check. This helps you build a better relationship. In this regard, I primarily mean romantic relationships, but it could mean friendships too. There's more that needs to expand on this concept, but it would be pages long. Tricks. Actually, after this, we're gonna have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I know your schedule's hectic. I know your schedule doesn't work right with anything else, but I see something that can be a very beautiful thing, and I want to hear your voice on this. Just let you know that. Let's see here, Melly Belly. That doesn't make you a bad person. It makes them bad for using you. I've heard that many fucking times in the
Yeah,
last 2 weeks.
especially if
A lot.
they know that.
You want to come in here. You know how to get the link. You come in here and voice your opinion instead of be behind the scenes. Just letting you fucking know that. Okay. Great. Okay. Let's see here. Gas. Let's see here. I feel like I'm great. I'm a great example. You had no ties to hang out with in my community. You stuck around. Always help when you can. We appreciate you, homie, on behalf of our entire gas station. Oh, that's sweet, dude. Thank you. But yeah, no, you aren't doing anything that's gonna ruin anything else. It's just one of those things that, you're building something as well. I've watched your product for a while and I like it a lot. It's also another networking tool because not to put myself out there like that too much, but you know what you're fucking doing. And I'm trying to learn as much as I fucking can, as much as possible. So it's a symbiotic relationship, in my opinion. Tricks. I'm better at writing than talking. Well, that actually still might be more value than you think, because my opinion, I was like, I like people go back and forth with me. I love it all the time, and you have no problem like having an argumentative conversation with me that's respectful. That's why I want to have a conversation with you about something. It's about something in the future. Nothing you have to be on the podcast for. It's just something that went through my head as soon as I read that statement from you. I'm one of those people, I have to say it out loud or else I lose it forever. Panda. To be honest, a little I have known you, you've done nothing but help me and be readily available. That goes appreciated in a whole different way. Yo, quit fucking praising me, you fucking assholes. Okay? First off, I don't like that. I'm not a praise person.
Praise him more. He deserves it.
No, I don't deserve it. All right. This one is for a couple of other people, and they're in the chat too. I think that's going to be great to see how their words are. How do global issues like climate change, inequality, shape the values of younger generations? I'll give y'all time to type that up. And that means is climate changes, the weather, everything like that, how the world's actually affecting, and then inequality as a whole too. That goes from religion and spirituality to race, sex, everything. What genders, everything about it. What do you think is? Do you think that's shaping the values of younger generations? Because in my opinion, it is. It greatly is.
Hardly.
There's there's like right now we're in Pride Month right now. Um, a lot of children don't understand what it is, but they're celebrating it. They're making themselves ready, available to something they're not ready to process fully yet. I'm talking about young children. I'm not talking about,
Mm-hmm.
and it's one of those things that I don't believe it should be so commercially available to somebody that's so easily molded.
Mm-hmm.
For my own opinion, because the things I did, when I was raising children, it was tough because they asked me these questions and I had to research so much and go down a rabbit hole to give them the better answer that wouldn't shift their perspective all the time. Because I want them to make their own choices. I want them to make their own, thoughts and everything like that. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want them to be brainwashed. I want them to be free to know and think how they wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
but in a safe environment. So, I let them push their boundaries. I let them figure out some things, but like certain things, I think that should wait until they get older to be exposed to it. That's just an example. Um, don't if you need to come for me, come for me. I don't give a fuck. And honestly, let's go with race. I was a black kid in a mostly white town.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't horrible, but it was not the best situation a lot of times. There'll be more of that story in a later episode. For a couple people I want involved with that. I see how race has been divided, how race divides itself now. I see a lot of melting pot areas, which makes me super happy because it gives different cultures, everything like that, come together. Then I see certain areas where they're kind of segregated still.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've lived all over the country, been in many places in the world, and it's still happening. No matter how much people want to say that it's a better time now. If it's a better time now, something like that wouldn't fucking happen anymore.
Mm.
Just saying.
I think it's
That's
the sorry. I just want to
Go
say
ahead.
like I think it's the vastness in different cultures within America itself. At least it's hard to get a single mindset because everyone's mindset and cultures are always going to be different. You know, Christianity to Jews, Jewish people to Hispanics to blacks. Their cultures and what they think is the right way to treat people is always going to be different. And
Yes.
you're like you said, it's I kind of disagree with you where you said like I want to say it has gone better, but it could be a lot better. We made the right step into giving rights to everyone. You know, before there was racial division across the country. We took one step, we got rid of slavery. Slavery. Then the next step, we gave voting rights and everything else. But there's still racial tension across the country, not as big as it used to be, but there's still pockets of it.
Yeah.
So
I
I kind of agree and disagree with you at the same time.
Yeah, that's fine. I like it. Tricks. I don't think a lot of people realize how big the United States is. I mean, each state is literally like its own little country. That's
Hmm.
true because if you think about, let's go with Europe. Um, they're all separated too. The time it takes us to get from one side, let's go use Texas for example, one side of Texas to the other side of Texas, that's traveling their whole country.
Hmm.
And they're like, what the fuck? They're like, oh, you've been traveling this long. You made it. You obviously already made it to your destination. Like, no, we got hours to go. Hours. So, I get what you're saying there. And it makes sense and it's so diverse
Hmm.
in a lot of things. Something similar, but a lot of diversity, which is a lovely thing. I love seeing diversity in general. But yeah.
Yeah,
Let's see here. Go ahead.
I was just saying, like you said, it's so much diversity. Example, I live in Massachusetts, and even though I'm more of I want to say, Republican leaning person, because I'm a huge advocate for like Second Amendment rights, and I don't think it. I think the only limitation is you shouldn't own like explosive like RPGs or something like that. But I do believe that you should be able to defend yourself In a situation like example, someone breaks into your house, they have a weapon, they're threatening to steal your valuables, potentially hurt you or your family. You have every right to do what you need to that needs to be done to defend yourself and the family and not have to have repercussions. But now that I live in a democratic state like Massachusetts, you'll actually go to jail for that kind of stuff, even if it's in self defense.
Yeah.
It's wild, but like where you live in Texas, it's hugely different. You know, you can
Yeah, we got
defend your property.
the castle law, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, they step on
exactly.
your property, they're not supposed to be there. Then you
Yeah,
handle business.
you give them a warning. You tell them get off now, or I'm going to shoot you. You know, etc. That kind of thing. Um, and it's just like you said, like lifestyles are different, values are different in
Yeah,
each state. In New York, even New York to like Massachusetts is going to be different in some ways, even though they're both democratic leading states. There's still differences in how their lifestyles could be.
yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true. That's true. Let's see here. What is going on? What the fuck, Panda? What are you doing, man? What are you doing? We're talking here. We're having conversations here. Put your money back in your wallet. Just talk to us, man. That's all you gotta do. Drift. What are you? Oh my god, dude, y'all are ridiculous. You're all fucking ridiculous. I love the support. I really do. I love it. Also, for everybody out there, subscribe. You know, it don't cost nothing. It's free. You know, go on YouTube, subscribe. It's free. Like no matter
YouTube,
what.
yes. Mm-hmm.
We're also on Spotify now. Well, we've been on Spotify for a while, but you know, we're seeing what we can get working with it. Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Pandora,
Mm-hmm.
YouTube, Twitch. You see our shorts on TikTok. You know. Also, boss, if you don't mind, putting the merch link, hit that exclamation point merch, and you know, get some new merch. We got new stuff in there now. We're coming out with more things because I have a lot of things in my head for designs and stuff. But yeah, we're gonna have a great time. Next part of the conversation. Nope. All right. If y'all have questions, please put them in the chat. But yeah, how do cultural differences impact the way values are prioritized in various parts of the world? So this is the reason why I wanted our guest to be here,
Mm-hmm.
is because he's had a different kind of lifestyle than anybody else has, and it's one of those things I love his standpoint on things because they're fucking unique, they're fucking different, and they always make you think, what?
Mm-hmm.
So you know, okay. Producer said table it for later. So we will table it for later since he's going to be on later on. Trix, if you're still here, I want to see your feedback on this question. Is there a universal set of values that all humans should share, regardless of culture or background?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got you. Savage, what do you think?
I kind of wanted to go back to the other question real quick because I had that in my head because I
You're
didn't
good.
really answer my own really opinion on it. Um, and kind of wanted to bring up like you said like climate change, I guess, and it's not really like climate change, but it's a change in general where, like you said earlier, COVID, it definitely impacted like the younger generation. When COVID hit, a lot of people were confused for good reasons. They didn't know what was really bad, if the virus is extremely dangerous, if not, what, et cetera, et cetera. But what happened with the younger generation is they stayed home a lot. 90% for like between 2020 all the way to like 2023, maybe 2022. I can't remember exactly when they started going back to schools, but for a good amount of time, they didn't have that social interaction with other kids that they needed to kind of grow. When you're growing up as a kid, you need to have interaction with other kids. And that's definitely going to impact them because they're not going to learn social cues. They're not going to learn social norms, what is accepted and what is not accepted, etc. And it had a huge impact on people. I've seen that a lot. So that was kind of what I wanted to bring up. Pretty simple and quick, but it was on my mind.
So for that, at that time during COVID, I was dating this girl, and she had a son, and we went during COVID. We would go do things, and everybody's like, "Well, what about COVID? He's wearing a mask. I'm wearing a mask. Get over it. We're fine." And we go to the park because they were empty. So he had a whole park by himself to just go play around and stuff like that. There was some kids there every once in a while, and we're like, okay, try to
Mm-hmm.
maintain it. But it's like, you're kids, you're fine. And I never worried about COVID. I
No.
never did. I was like, I never cared. Still to this day,
Yeah.
nothing for
As
me.
time went on, if you paid attention, you realized COVID can be dangerous depending on the person's health and depending if this kind of strain you got from it. Um, but it was a lot of unknowns that they were trying to figure out, and there was a lot of panicking. So it's hard to you can't really blame anyone. At the end of the day, it's more of you had to make a decision on for yourself and for your family. Do you do the 6 feet? Do you wear the mask and all that kind of stuff? You get your vaccinations, all that stuff. Um, but as time went on, they kind of revealed a lot of the stuff wasn't bad as it seemed. The mask thing, pretty pointless. The only concept really was to keep like the droplets from coming out of your mouth. So if you coughed, you're not spreading it as much. But breathing it in, breathing it out, it didn't do anything. It's not going to filter out the molecules going through the mask itself. The vaccinations, they've had recalls on certain ones, and then other ones caused other side effects and symptoms.
Yeah.
It's sad to see. I've known some people that had strokes, some people that gotten some crazy side effects. And as the years went by, if you paid attention, you learned that COVID is a interesting thing that happens, and it kind of shows how society as a whole will take a pandemic if they can handle it or break. And it kind of showed that a lot of people can't handle it. They
Yeah.
do break.
Okay. All right. Trix came back with something, and I can't even debate this. Fuck. All right. I believe society is inadequated, meaning I think it had usefulness at one point in time, but is now no longer needed, at least not in the same capacity. Um, so with that, I kind of agree
Mm,
because it's not like it used to be anymore. It's not where, it's a village to raise everybody. It's not like that anymore. Some places it is, some is not. It's it's weird because I grew up really old school, so it was about you take care of your neighbor, everything like that. Nowadays, most people don't know who the fuck their neighbor is.
oh yeah,
You
no,
know,
I don't. And I have 4 neighbors. I don't know any.
yeah. I'm still that way. I still go to try to talk to my neighbors. I don't do that anymore because I learned that a lot of people don't like that either,
Mm, yeah,
and
they just
I
like to
think it's
be
just, yeah, they like to
left
be
alone.
live and let live. They don't want to be bothered at all. But yeah, I see your point, Tricks, and I can agree with you, sir. A lot. I don't think I don't think it's in the same capacity at all anymore. And in honesty, I don't think it's going to go back to the way it was either, where society is needed like that. Let's see here. Oh, we're holding on to that one. We're holding on to that one. What impact does the pursuit of instant gratification have on long-term values like patience and perseverance? So I gotta call myself out on this because if I don't, she's gonna yell at me. Um, I'm a very bad about waiting and being patient. I'm very much about instant gratification because everything's so readily available nowadays. Everything, and especially since I moved outside of Houston, honestly, everything's readily available. I don't have to worry about oh, do I have to wait a week to go here and anything like that? Nope. I pull up my phone, click, got it. It comes straight to my door. Don't have to worry about that
Mm,
at all. You know, it's one of those fucking things I can't help. Like, and then now you add into like Amazon Prime, things like that.
Hmm.
You just you it's next day delivery or sometimes same day. Which I ordered something the other day. I ordered my dog's food from Amazon Prime
Mm,
because it's on sale there. It came the same fucking day
that's nice.
from Amazon Prime. I was like,
Convenient.
I was waiting on the next day or 2 day, and they're like, oh, it'll be here at 6. I was like, the fuck? And me thinking to myself, like, oh, that's a mistype. That's just something messed up with their system. Nope. That day showed up. I'm like, okay, I know what I'm going to do now for my dog's food, and not have to worry about it so much. So I'm big on instant gratifications. Some people are trying to beat that out of me. And I say the word beat because really persuading me doesn't work so well. So yeah, they're literally trying to beat that out of me. So that's one of those things. How does it affect patience? I feel like I'm a very patient person, but I know I'm nowhere near as patient as I used to be.
Mm.
Some people knew me a couple years ago. I used to be very patient, and now I'm kind of not. I kind of want something done instantly now, which sometimes can't even be fucking possible. So yeah, your take on it, sir?
Patience. It really depends. Some days I'm very patient. Other days I'm not. Example, driving.
Mm-hmm.
You just want to get from A to B. You know. A lot of people might enjoy driving. I don't mind it, but I just like to get to the point, go to the destination I'm going to. And so when I get stuck behind, a good example is this: is when I travel for 6 hours to see my fiance. There'll be points in traveling where traffic gets stuck for no reason, and it will set me off like I'm about to like snap because there's
Yeah,
no reason for it. So why am I slow on a highway doing 20 when there's no car accident? There's 4 lanes, so plenty of space. There's no accidents. There's no construction going on. There's no reason for all this traffic jam on a highway where you're supposed to be going 65 at least, going down to 10.
yeah.
And you're just like, so, like that situation, patience for me is not a strong suit. Like, I try to ignore it, and I just put the podcast louder, listen on that, and kind of like just zone out for a second.
I definitely get that, man. It's one of those things that I'm not the best known for my travels. I'm pretty sure your fiance's been on the phone with me one time when I was driving, and I think she hung the fuck up on me because I started yelling. I can't remember if it was her or somebody else, but I'm pretty sure it was her.
Mm,
And I was like, um, I don't know. Yeah, I know you don't do yelling. I know. Tricks. I'm being patient every day since I was born. I'm waiting on death. Yeah, yeah, and that makes sense.
I'm the opposite in that
So
situation.
for me, for me, it's one of those things that I'm patient with certain aspects. Let me just say that I'm patient in certain aspects. So with people, yes. With things I want or things I want done or things I want to get somebody else, I am not. I am not. You don't have to yell at me
Mm.
right now because I called myself out before you got the chance to. hmm but yeah. By the way, she's not really yelling. She just talks very sternly. That's it. So everybody that's worried about our well-being, it's fine. Producer lady's not.
I I agree to a degree. The only time I don't really have patience is for stupid people. And I see it more and more every day, and it bothers me so much that people. I don't know how people can be common sense is left the building. Then it bothers me so much. And that I had no patience for. Now if someone's, dealing with something and they need to talk, that I can have patience for all day. I can, listen, have a conversation, try to help out. That I do a lot, and that I can have patience for, but when it comes to like stupid people, I just can't handle it. A lot of people have patience for. They're like, well, they can't help it. They're stupid. But for me, I'm just like, no, there's no reason for it. You shouldn't be. But that's just me.
I got you. I got you. Tricks. Let's see here. Twisty. Spirituality was something told to me that's that it's your angels keeping you back from something happening to you. I don't understand where that came from. But we will be doing one on spirituality. We'll do different spiritualities and religions and things like that. So that's going to be coming up. Tricks, if you want an interesting read, I'll suggest. How do you fucking say that name?
Tolstoy's
Tolstoy's Confession. Death,
God.
God, and the Meaning of Life. It's fine. We're past it.
Tolstoy.
Okay, cool. Tolstoy. Yeah. Oh, that came from Traffic Jams. Okay, got you. See, my brain goes everywhere. So yeah. This is something for you, Savage, and for possibly somebody else. How do modern workplace values like work-life balance and diversity reflect broader societal trends?
All right, so I work in a cabinet shop. That's a wood shop, and it's funny because the norms in the shop are a lot different from the norms from the office. So it's a family-owned company. You know, the owner of the company, he's the main salesperson, and then he has his daughter and son as the salespeople, and then his other daughter is like the money, financial person, all that stuff. And you know, obviously, you know this from like when you said you used to work in like an office, it was like the norms of society and what they talk about, what they can and talk about in the office is completely different from what someone would talk about. Like me, you, and you know, we can have guy talk, and we're not gonna get offended. We're gonna laugh at the the dirty jokes, the dark jokes, or have a sixth sense of humor. But to us, that's not a problem. But to other people, they're gonna be like, "Oh, that's outrageous. What are you doing?" You know, and it's in our shop. It's there's no hold bars. We talk about the craziest things, and it makes it more interesting to me, at least. I like having those kind of conversations. I don't like to hide behind like what you can and can't say. You don't get to speak your mind because it might be controversial or whatever. No, we have open conversations, and sometimes it's serious, sometimes it's goofy. Yeah, I think it all just depends on what kind of job you have, and a lot of the times like office is like an office job, like sitting at a desk for 12 hours a day. It's going to be a completely different experience from someone like me who works in a shop that delivers things and gets his hands dirty, bloody, all that kind of stuff. Like my hands are beat up, like they're all fucked up now from my job. But I guess it's just like the kind of people that you surround yourself at the job. It's how it's going to be seen. So
Okay.
it's interesting.
Okay. So there's a work-life balance promoted by jobs, by Drift. Yeah, I guess so, man. I don't know. I don't understand it. You gotta find one of those. Yeah. So next question, because I don't have anything for this, honestly.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Most things I've done have been work, and then when I'm not, it's just whatever the fuck I want to do. So recently, it's like with this, I do everything podcast for all day long. As soon as I wake up, that's what I'm thinking about. That's what I'm doing. Y'all can't hear PL, but she's over here telling me I don't work hard enough. But but yeah.
To kind of go on that too, I guess, since you don't really have like an opinion on it, really. There's an extreme situation too, for again going back to COVID, people were kind of forced to get vaccines, and if they didn't get those vaccines, then they were forced out of those jobs, either released or temporary released or fired. So it was kind of like you had to do that to keep your job, and that was kind of like an extreme of the topic we're having right now.
Yeah, but for me, it was it didn't work that way because I worked remote jobs then.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to go anywhere if I didn't want to.
Yeah, and for my job, luckily they never said anything about that. They were like, you can do whatever you want to do, which is how it should be. And then even if they did try to get us to get vaccines, most of us would have been just like, no, either we do what we want to do with our own bodies, or we're all quitting. Good luck.
Well, Trix, you worked everywhere. Give me a list, because it'd be interesting to figure. And he said, "I worked everywhere, man." And baker, you were a baker. Honestly, like I'm going to be serious right now. Honestly, you were a baker. Kind of want to do that. Yeah, I'm
Tedious.
just saying. Um,
Mm.
no, wrong one. Just just replied right there when I was putting it. There we go. Awesome place. Are we seeing a decline in trust as a value, whether in institutions, media, or each other? Institutions meaning like best way to put this, the government. That's
Mhm.
one. Um,
Mhm.
our local offices, things like that, mayors. Then media, the news, things like that, news outlets, and each other as a person. What do y'all think about that?
I Yeah, there's definitely been a decline in all of it. Some more than others, especially like media. That's been a huge hit. Again, going back to COVID, you know, there was a lot of propaganda and a lot of incentive to push the vaccines on people because they were making profit off of it. It wasn't for the best interest of the people, it was for profit. Anything that came up that was more productive or that was countering like vaccine uses in some situations, they would try to fight against that. You know, what's it called? Trying to remember what it's called. It was it was what's Joe Rogan used before he got used it to get rid of or not get rid of, but help fight against COVID among other things. But he was ridiculed for using it.
Thymine.
I mean,
Uh,
remember what it's called. But either way, it was a it is a world renowned. Yeah, that what Drift said. It's the dewormer shit. There's an actual name for it, but uh, it was basically more than that. It's used for people all the time. It would fight a lot of different diseases. It's gained a is it a Nobel Peace Prize? It's gained a lot of like use around the world for a long time, and only recently ivermectin. There we go. Thank you,
mm,
Melly Belly.
yeah, thanks, Melly.
But stuff like that, it media lied a lot, and it was across the board. Didn't matter what news station you like to watch, all of them lied because they were being used and paid for it for their own gains and such like that. So for media, yeah, it was a huge loss. You've seen a huge during COVID. You've seen a huge uptake in podcasts, not only for entertainment but also for information. Not even just Joe Rogan, but other people as well would talk about what was actually helping people, what wasn't helping people, how to improve your health. Because the media, the news itself, never talked about, hey, you should go on hikes every day. Go out and get some sunlight. Vitamin D is essential for your health when fighting, COVID or taking vitamins D or C or whatever supplements, stuff like that. That would help you to improve your health. It was always just take the vaccine, take the vaccine. Media just sped lies, and it was across the board for everyone. And when it comes to like institutions, it was the same thing. Like you said, the government was abusing the trust that they were gaining from people, and people were starting to realize it more and more as it went on. So yeah.
Okay, let's see here. I believe yes. Obviously, it's one of those things that kind of makes me conflicted, being veteran and everything like that, and
Mm-hmm.
having mistrust for the government. But a lot of people that are veterans have mistrust for the government because we've worked in the military. We understand that they fucking lie, But it's one of those things that I do my own research.
Mm-hmm.
For everybody out there who doesn't know this, you can look at a lot of sites like Constellus, things like that. Constellus owns one of the biggest private military contractors there is, and they actually post news updates from around the world. So, like, you ever interested in like what's going on in Bahrain or anything like that, you can look it up, and they actually put in there like notes, everything like that. They do their research, and it's thorough. It's extremely thorough, where you can fact check everything. There's once I was looking at it. There's a president's daughter got kidnapped, and it was nowhere on the news at all. No news outlet had it. It's kind of a big deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So things like that. So you can do your own research just fine. You just need to figure out where to go for it and make sure it's a good, respectable area. You know, what's the rest of that? I forgot the other half of the question. Yes, I did forget the other thing in the question again. It happens.
Is it media or
Um,
each other?
each other, yeah, each other. I feel that yes, decline in trusting each other has fucking definitely fucking happened
Mm-hmm.
so much.
Yeah.
There's you can't take people for face value anymore. You can't trust anybody's word. Everybody's always conniving and being catty, and I've learned that a lot. That I like to take people by their words, like no matter what. I still do it, but the moment they prove me wrong, I'm just like, okay, I can't trust what they're saying. So I got to deep dive them. I got to figure out, who they are, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And now I just instantly like, I don't know who they are. I'm gonna deep dive them anyways, and just figure out, what they want. Do they align with what I think or believe in? Things like that. So it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I agree, and as like Mike Tyson has said, I'm probably gonna butcher what he said, but basically it was along the lines like there's a lot of keyboard warriors that don't have someone in front of them that's like they don't have repercussions for it. If you were to say a lot of things you say behind like a keyboard, you're probably gonna get punched in the face if you said to someone directly. You know, people they like to talk shit, and they know behind a keyboard, a lot of times people can't do anything about it. Unless you're able to do some crazy things, hack into their IP address, find out where they live, and do some crazy stuff, which I suggest not to do. Illegal.
You
Putting it
should
out
put
there.
disclaimer supposed to go before the attempt. Just let you know that disclaimer before.
Disclaimer. Don't do that. But um a lot of people like to talk shit. They like to talk behind people's back. They'll say one thing like, "Oh, that's to your face." They'll be like, "Yeah, I like you," and then behind them, like, "You see what they did? They're a piece of shit." And then it's like, okay, so now then you find out about from someone else, and it gets thrown around, and a lie here, rumor there. It happens everywhere, but it's more so on like social media, and that's why at the end of the day, I don't involve myself in that kind of shit. I just hang out with the people I like, and I like to just have a good time. When I get off of work, I'm here for a good time. That's it.
Yeah, I get you. I get you. I get you. Let's see here. Let's move on to the next one. Let's give you a choice: education or freedom and security.
So
Savage.
like
Yeah,
you have like a like what? So like there's a
I
question
have
for
one
each
about
one.
education. I have one for each one.
So yeah, either education or freedom.
And security. Yeah.
Let's go with freedom.
Hell yeah.
And
All right. How do values like freedom and security balance against each other in today's political climate?
it's funny. We bring up COVID a lot, but you kind of learn this in COVID. Um, people gave up a lot of their freedoms to get more security. It may have been fake security, but it made them feel more secure. But in the grand scheme of things, I think freedom can give you more security because you're able to protect yourself. We have here in America that no other country really in the world has. Our First Amendment, our Second Amendment, all the way up until all the rest of the amendments, and those kind of coincide with each other. First Amendment and Second Amendment were made together on purpose. You know, freedom of speech
Yes.
and freedom to bear arms. And I think that actually coincides very well with freedom and security. They kind of balance each other out. Um, Now a lot of things today people may not agree with, and they try to punish people for voicing a different opinion or for saying things that might hurt your feelings. But at the end of the day, if you're an American, that is your right to say whatever your opinion is, regardless of how bad it may be. You know, there's a lot of things that people I can't fathom to say myself. Like I don't agree with it, and I think it's horrible for certain things people say. But at the end of the day, it is their right, their freedom to do so. And so long as their speech doesn't extend past that, it doesn't actually cause physical harm to the other person or to anyone else, then you're in your right to say whatever you want to say. And but also with Second Amendment, you're able to defend yourself from those who would extend past their freedom of speech. So it's vice versa. So I kind of think they kind of go together.
Okay. Okay. So, my standpoint. How do values like freedom and security balance each other in today's political climate? I don't believe they do. Too many things have changed. Too many things are actually so fucked up where they're trying to get rid of Second Amendment, and there's no freedom in it. It's most things made aren't really constitutional. Most choices made aren't really constitutional when you look at it and go back to the bare bones of what it was made for. Security balance, security itself. Most people, if you ask them, do they feel secure? They say yes, but then they have to think about it a little bit and say, am I secure? Are you sure that you won't have martial law, anything like that? So it's one of those things. But yeah, you just gotta figure out, what's right for you, like no matter what. But yeah, peaches. There's no way to truly balance the two. Either you give up your individual freedoms for government security, or you have freedom to protect yourself, but what you do to protect yourself may be against what the government deems lawful. It is a double-edged sword. It is a double-edged sword.
It is.
But that's why that's why I believe there needs to be a balance. There should be a balance. At the same time, I kind of contradict myself because I kind of feel more on the whole freedom aspect than anything else. I'm really big about that.
Which is what the Constitution was started to begin with. Was one of the many things was to defend the individual from the government. It's literally stated that you, as the people, if the government is to get out of hand, you, as the people, are supposed to stand up to the government.
Yeah, the tricks. Again, this is why I think society is antiquated. There's no need for security if there's no one to breach your freedom. True. That's 100% true, Tricks. Like, without any second guesses, that's 100% true. But we're going to wrap up the podcast section right now, and we're going to ask you all a question. What do you want to see us talk about next? Everything's on the fucking table. Everything. Absolutely anything's on the table. Tricks, I know you can come up with a slew of answers and everything like that, but it doesn't work like that. He kind of wants to see what you're thinking. Sorry, Ninja Smurf, that doesn't work.
I know. I do it anyways.
But yeah, y'all are fucking ridiculous. I'm so glad the chat's not in the fucking podcast transcripts. But yeah, what do y'all want to see? What's y'all interested in? We have a slew of topics already. It's just wanting to figure out what y'all actually want to hear us talk about. It has been almost 2 hours. Yeah. So it's just like, what do y'all want to hear us talk about? Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah, what happens when you get an engaging conversation, right? You kind of lose track of time.
Yeah, that's good. Means it was fulfilling. It was interesting. We had a good time.
Yes, we did.
Engaging.
By the way, is it next week? Let me look at the time. Let me look at the calendar. Is it next week? Yes. So next week we're going to be doing a very special podcast. It's going to be on Saturday. We will not have a podcast during that week. It'll be on that Saturday because we don't know how long it's going to run. And we're having Maddie Pace on. We will not release the topics yet either. Yeah, we're going to have Maddie Pace on. He's a very great streamer, very great inspirational person, and he's really good at what he does and talking to people, make them feel good about themselves. So yeah. It's going to be one of those ones that some people, if you need to pick me up, anything like that, just tune in. Honestly, he has that effect on a lot of people. Just tune in and just listen to him talk, and you're going to enjoy yourself. I'm going to throw some weird things at them too. So we're going to see how that goes. And yeah, just here support. I appreciate that, Peaches. Let's see here. Nobody has anything, huh? Nope. Cool. Then let's look and see who we gonna send y'all to. Let's do this and this. Just mute the tab. Which let's see who's on. Nope. Nope. I muted this. Why is it not muted? Okay, cool. Who is live? He's live.
Rex was saying, so wait, what? You want to meet me somewhere or meet you somewhere after this stream?
I'm gonna DM you that way because I know I have something to do after stream. But other than that, I'm gonna message you, and then we can have it because I know you have your schedule and everything like that you need to do. And so yeah, y'all have a great time, and I hope y'all subscribe, like, and comment as much as you can because I love feedback.
All the feedback is welcomed.